Well, let's head to Tanzania now, where a high court has dismissed a petition made by 4 private citizens. They were challenging the legality of the government's new ports management deal. Now, the agreement is with the United Arab Emirates. The petitioners had claimed that the deal violated Tanzania's constitution and endangered national sovereignty and security. Now, according to the High Court, the plaintiff's constitutional case lacks any merit. Tanzania and the UAE had signed a memorandum of understanding in February of last year for DP World. DP World is a multinational logistics company based in Dubai. Now, that deal awarded DP World the rights to run the port of Dar es Salaam. The agreement, sanctioned by President Samia Suluhu Hassan, has been criticized by various stakeholders. They say they are concerned about the fate of the state asset. The government, of course, has denied any claims that the deal amounts to a sell-off of one of Tanzania's prime properties to foreign investors. Well, let's now delve further into that deal with Professor Anna Tibai-Juka. She is a retired minister and also former executive director of the UN Habitat. Great to have you with us on the show, Professor. And I just want to start off with your take on that ongoing debate in Tanzania over its cooperation with this ports management firm, DP World, in developing port areas in the country. Similar to Kenya in 2022, where does this reluctance come from in signing that deal?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. The debate in Tanzania is actually indeed raging around this proposed partnership or investment with the DP World of Dubai. The reluctance emanates from what is considered as a one-sided deal. In terms of economic benefits, it looks like the deal is going to benefit more Dubai than it will benefit Tanzania. And as you know, this is a developing country with a lot of potential. It is also a coastline country. We have 1,500 kilometers of coastline. The deal signed with the government, the intergovernmental agreement as it stands, puts all that under the monopoly of DP World. And that is what actually causing an uproar in the country, because it looks like we are creating a monopoly. We are a coastline nation on the Indian Ocean. We have a number of strategic ports with potential in the future, even to develop transshipment hubs, which could be competing with Dubai in the long term, if you are able to think 30, 40, 50 years from today. That is what is worrying the people.
Now, it is interesting you use the word monopoly, and of course we know DP World it has invested more than $1.8 billion on the African continent in the last 10 years alone. It currently operates not just in Tanzania but in at least 10 nations in Africa. So what do you think is informing this foray into Africa and now Tanzania?
Well, if you look at the terms of the intergovernmental agreement as they are quite, I must say, they are almost predatory, because it looks like they don't only will have the port, they will have all the supply chain, the internal, the dry ports inland. They would have, the economic corridors. Everything will be put under the DPW, and also with the stabilization clauses. Some of them which are really worrisome, when to put it, bluntly, one-sided. So you don't see what is in there for Tanzania, what is in there for Tanzania and the region in general, what is in there for Africa. So Tanzania being what it is a country of democratic country, So people are discussing this and they are saying, well, nobody's against the investment, but the terms of the investment looks quite predatory.
Now, I wonder what you think about the fact that DP World does say that it plans to invest a further $3 billion in Africa in the coming year. So it looks like Tanzania isn't their last stop in Africa. Looking forward, what is your take on how this is tied to maybe a wider national objective by the UAE?
Well, I think that I can understand from their point of view. Nobody is doubting their competence. They have done wonderful things. I myself have to be quite familiar with the developments of Dubai when I was still working in the UN, working at city level, because Dubai is a city state. I would like to say that you want to create goodwill in an investment like this. Africa, Tanzania, like all African countries, we are welcoming investment, but not at the expense of our liberty, at the expense of our sovereignty, of our freedom, but also we have to be able to work with others. I mean, look here, Dubai has definitely developed the port maritime shipping capability, but so has Singapore, so has Shanghai and the other players. We would like to keep the doors open for competition, which is always healthy. So what is worrying people is, why are we putting all our eggs in one basket? And when this is done across Africa, then it becomes even more worrisome. If you have signed all the hinterland where Tanzania, you know, the landlocked countries, the region which Tanzania is servicing. So if Dubai now controls everything there, how can you promote efficiency? Because once you have monopoly, then you rule out efficiency.
Well, I'm curious to know, do you see any advantages to partnering with DP World? Because we do know that a lot of these African ports need help with infrastructure development.
Yes, indeed. They need this. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. But you see, for any partnership, any investment to work, there must be goodwill from the word go. You know, so how are you going to promote, to develop the capacities, to employ local people, to improve the skills? Because as you know, we have a lot of young people, we have a lot of people who are now getting experience, who could be trained. So we would like to have some kind of a joint venture. But this is not a joint venture, this is a lease. So it is like a lease contract, a long-term lease, almost timeless. You don't see the limit. When will the projects end? Also, if you look at, in other words, the agreement is laden with potential conflicts, very big conflicts, and people are worried about the history of DPW, which have controversies in Djibouti. They have court cases everywhere, even in Kenya, our neighbors, they try to come there. So it is laden with potential conflict, and that is what shakes and puts into doubt the goodwill that should normally, accompany foreign direct investments.
Such certainly an interesting take, and what a pleasure to have you with us on the show today, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your insights. That, of course, is Professor Anna Tibai-Juka. She is a retired minister and former executive director of the UN Habitat.